I was scrolling through Netflix the other day when I saw J.Lo was in another movie, and I accidentally skipped over the documentary one where she was like running up and down the street or something.
When I was 16 in the Bronx, running up and down the block.
I think she released another movie recently that I haven't seen, so I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna give Office Romance a shot. J.Lo is kind of known for being full of herself and whatever. I personally love J.Lo. I think her egotistical attitude is something I find very, very entertaining and somewhat endearing. But it seems like people have this like undying hatred for Jennifer Lopez, and I don't really understand it. Maybe there's more to the story outside of her being kind of a diva, but I'm gay and problematic women have never bothered me before.
You crazy little girl.
Anyways, today's movie, Office Romance, portrays J.Lo in a way that I truly believe that she wants to be perceived. If I could describe this movie, it would be, yes, step on me, mommy. And once you think this movie is going in one direction, you are surprised with something completely unexpected and it goes into a very different direction. So let's get to the video. So Jackie is an uptight CEO who runs her dad's airline company, and our love interest, Daniel, is an in-house lawyer who works at the same airline company as J.Lo, and he's on a work visa from the UK, which is relevant and I'm gonna explain later. So the movie opens up with both of our characters at dinner with someone else, except both dinners turn out to be exceptionally uncomfortable. Jackie's dinner is supposed to be a work meeting, but the dude is making moves on her and crying about his ex-wife, and the whole thing is just really awkward.
Trust me, the last thing I want to talk about is my ex-wife.
I wouldn't know what to do in that situation. Daniel's date has kind of an alcohol problem. Total vibe, but disrupts the entire restaurant. I was hoping she was going to be someone we'd meet again in this movie, but unfortunately she wasn't important enough for that. I really thought she was going to be a main character. So both dinner experiences turn out to be a complete disaster. Daniel wasn't clicking with Miss Tequila, and Jackie's work meeting turned really awkward, especially after he started talking about jacking off to his ex-wife.
I jerk off.
Ew. Jackie and Daniel have never met each other despite working at the same company because Daniel only recently started working there and Jackie is BFD. She's mommy, she's CEO. She's not just running up and down the block anymore, she owns the block. Unlike Daniel, who seems to be actively in the dating scene, Jackie wants nothing to do with dating. She's very career-oriented, eye on the prize type of gal.
I don't need anybody else in my life right now. Focused on work.
Everyone's scared of her except for her assistant, Sydney, who's like kind of insufferable. Like Sydney's extremely pregnant, but refuses to take any maternity leave, and she like makes that her whole personality.
I'm gonna go to the hospital when the baby comes, then I'll resume work the next day.
Working is her life. Like this movie is giving very much like 2015 boss babe energy, and that's fine and all, but like you should probably take your paid maternity leave, given that it's a luxury to have in the United States. I'm curious to know why Sydney has a katana on her wall. It doesn't really match with anything. Maybe she's anticipating some sort of an attack. Maybe she really likes anime. Right away, Jackie has to deal with preparing for a deposition because her airline is being sued by Falcon Airlines after her company decided to expand into Dallas-Fort Worth. So it's kind of a nuisance and she's a little stressed out about it. And to make matters worse, her lawyer chokes on a food truck burrito and has to be hospitalized. Oh no. No! So Daniel has to step in for the deposition last minute because Vance, the burrito dude, is his boss. Is this straight? I can't tell. That's fine. Whatever. Daniel's coworkers kind of warn him about how horrible Jackie is to work with, like how she hears you breathing, she freaks out, and that she's just very particular about everything. Kind of like Ellen, you know, DeGeneres, just overall a shitbag to work for. Now, Daniel up to this point has come across very put together and super detail oriented, extremely serious, no funny business, until he meets Jackie for the first time to introduce himself before the deposition.
Wow.
Jackie's raw beauty catches him so off guard that he forgets how to speak, and he compliments her shoes, which is apparently something that you're not supposed to do. She doesn't fuck with him initially because she's assuming he's going to screw up the whole deposition. And during the deposition, the lawyer from the other airline is asking all these really specific, hard-hitting questions about this deal that kind of makes her look bad. And Daniel isn't answering any of the questions for her, which gives her the impression that he has no idea what he's doing. So she takes him aside, she kind of slaps him around a little bit. He needs to know that she's from the Bronx, you know what I mean? But he reassures her that he's going to handle it. Like she needs to just trust the process. It turns out that he ends up using all those questions that Falcon Airlines just asked against them and happens to be really good at his job because he exposes that this company's been sending people to spy on her meetings and like business conversations, which doesn't look very good for them. So Jackie realizes that she misjudged the guy and formally apologizes to him in private, but surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise! Oh my God, boner alert. Yeah, I was surprised, actually. Daniel's bricked. Jackie freaks out, makes the whole thing weird. and she acts like she's being attacked.
Whoa!
Wow.
Jackie, this is sexual harassment, and I know that might be surprising to you. Like, it's one thing to be surprised or taken aback by the wiener on a visa, but you can't just continue to act insane when he's done literally nothing to provoke you, and you were the one being inappropriate, pointing out this man's body parts. And this is his boss. There is a power dynamic here. It was an accident. He clearly wants the boner to go away because his boss brought him up there with no witnesses and is shaming him for said boner. Removing the boner immediately in real time is a metric that simply cannot be met. She was better off either not saying anything or just going, hey, work visa, would you mind readjusting yourself? But instead, we decided to make this a bigger deal than it needed to be. Now he's ashamed for his manhood, and Jackie is secretly excited about this, giggling at home while Daniel is in turmoil. And this actually pisses me off because, like, so you didn't actually care, right? You didn't actually care. You thought it was silly. It wasn't actually a big deal, and you're letting him stress out about this. Come on, Jackie. So Daniel's going to work ashamed. And upon arriving, he's requested by Jackie to go over some business-related items in her office. She asks him to take over the day-to-day operations of the legal department while Vance gets his burrito situation figured out at the hospital. No! And then she subtly makes a reference to the boner incident, making sure he's up for it.
That is, if you're up for it.
So we have some more sexual harassment from Jackie, and that seems to be very on brand for her. Disgusting. Once Daniel and Jackie are alone, Jackie's like, hey, let's put this whole boner fiasco behind us. We don't need to be talking about boners, looking at boners. And Daniel reassures her that he would never entertain the idea of a relationship, particularly because of the office policy that prohibits workplace relationships. And I just feel like that's really unrelated. Why are we were just talking about boners. Now we're talking about relationships. I don't remember exactly what filled in that gap there.
Don't shit where you eat.
Jackie uses the phrase, don't shit where you eat. And I realize that this is a pretty common saying when referring to being against office relationships, but I don't personally understand the connection. So they're cool now. The boner is in the past. It's all water under the brick. I don't know. I'm not on my A game today. After leaving her office, Dano gets stared down by Sydney, and my understanding is that she hates him because she's territorial over Jackie. I couldn't tell if she was a lesbian or something, or she just is really passionate about working with Jackie. I don't know. She's just real mean all the time throughout the movie. I don't know what her problem is. A little later, we find out that Daniel visits his sister in prison very often, and this becomes kind of an important detail later, but essentially his sister got in trouble in the United States. And I don't know exactly what happened. I think maybe she killed somebody, but he didn't want to be away from her. So he stepped down from his legal role in the UK to take this position in the US so that he could see her more often. But this makes the work visa thing a little more important because if he let himself develop feelings for Jackie in the office, then he could lose his work visa and wouldn't be able to see his sister. The next day at the office, Burrito Dude gets back from the hospital and this guy is all over the place, just bouncing off the walls, very energetic, probably doing some cocaine. And he starts barking at Daniel once the court case is brought up.
It's very good. All right.
Definitely a coke situation. You know, you've seen a coke situation before. Vance immediately fucks up the entire case once he takes over. He puts together this request for the judge to throw out the entire case and attaches a record of Jackie's non-existent dating history. Because from what I gather, the accusation is that Jackie is seducing important people to get a good deal expanding her airline to this new airport. And Vance's defense is that Jackie isn't passed around the block ever. So how would she be seducing anybody if she's been single this whole time? Like that she's not capable, you know? Jackie hates this. It makes her look bad. And the takeaway is that Daniel seems to be better fit at running this case than Vance because Daniel's plan was better. So she has Daniel take Vance's position. No! Except Cruise Airlines is a publicly traded company. And if you don't know, publicly traded companies are run by a board. So a CEO can't just do whatever they want. They are required by fiduciary law to act in the best interest of shareholders. And the board conducts an emergency meeting because they do not think replacing Vance with this new guy is good for business or shareholders. Jackie has to convince all these people that Vance simply was not a good fit for the case and that Daniel is a better fit. Halfway through the meeting, Jackie's dad, the founder, comes in and he's highly respected. The board immediately listens to anything this guy says, and he always talks to Jackie like she's a little girl, which is pretty humiliating, especially in this setting. Her dad pretty much sides with the board until Daniel interrupts everyone and lays out almost everything Jackie said, but adds his qualifications and stands up for her, and that's enough to convince the board. Daniel, officially being in this role now, is working really close to Jackie, and we get a cute little montage of them giving each other googly eyes. And Daniel gets called into HR because he called someone the C word, but it means something different in the UK.
You're an absolute...
He just really likes saying the C word. I love saying the C word, but if I say it, I'm going to get demonetized. We're about 40 minutes into the movie, so now we need to get our main characters in the bedroom together. How are we going to do that? New deposition in the Dominican Republic at a resort, and Jackie gets to pick anyone she wants to go with her. Ooh, who's it going to be? I wonder who it's going to be. Daniel is obviously going to go for legal reasons. Ooh, surprise, Daniel's going. Daniel's going to go, ooh, we're going to do the deposition in the bedroom. She's going to peg the deposition up his ass. That's what's going to happen at the Dominican Republic. One thing I failed to mention earlier is that one of Jackie's many talents is flying an airplane. So she will be flying the airplane, and Daniel's going to be in the airplane with her because she needs to be in control and she needs to display her dominance to a man. And there's even a point where they get caught in a storm and she's like, don't worry, baby, I'll take care of you.
I got you.
No boners without Captain Jackie's permission. I also need to point out the most poorly photoshopped photo of what is supposed to be Jackie and her dad in a plane. And I'm convinced 3 minutes was spent making this. But at least it's not AI. We're in the DR. We're finally in the DR. Sexual tensions are at an all-time high. They get drunk at dinner. They're dancing. They can't hold it back any longer. And they are officially banging. We are officially banging. How exciting. The next morning, they get room serviced, and the staff member is kind of weird, talking about walking in on orgies and sides for some reason.
Orgies.
Jackie and Daniel agree that while they did enjoy playtime, they can never talk about this again. Cut to Jackie and Daniel banging in the airplane. Wow. Who could have seen that one coming? Now we've gotten to a point where they're together, but they're sneaking around. Jackie's asking Daniel to look over some documents. She has little secret notes for him. Like this one asking him to hang out at her place. He needs to please his captain. But he specifically likes the fact that she's in control of everything. Like she is the breadwinner. And even in the beginning of the movie, he did not like Margarita Girl because she's very unprofessional and clearly not career oriented like Miss Jackie. He wants to be told what to do. While they're eating dinner, there's a part where Jackie does a happy dance while she's eating so that we know she's quirky and relatable.
Delicious happy food dance.
Daniel walks down the hallway of her mansion and finds an entire room dedicated to Great Britain. Turns out this woman is obsessed with like UK memorabilia. She's obsessed with Great Britain. She likes everything about Great Britain. And suddenly he's like, wait a minute. This is a fetish. This is a fetish thing. You're freaky.
I'm your kink.
He clocks the fact that she probably found him irresistibly attractive because of his English accent from the beginning. And for the first time, we see Jackie feeling vulnerable, like the freak behind the curtain has been revealed. Daniel's real quiet. Is he upset? Is he turned on by this? No. I'll take a step further. He dresses up like a royal guard and Jackie tells him that she can do whatever she wants to him, but he can't move. Like it's like 50 Shades of Jackie. And they seem to really be getting off on like sneaking around. There's some instances though, I have to say like it is getting too risky. Like I want to know why Work Visa is butt naked and Jackie is completely clothed when that one girl walked in. Like did Jackie command her subordinate to take off all of his clothes? What, wouldn't they both be naked? I'm confused. So at this point, they seem to be also frequently the Caribbean to have some alone time, but Daniel mentions that he has to be back home by tomorrow and he's super vague about why. Jackie sees this as a red flag and decides to follow him the next day, which it turns out he's visiting his sister in prison, but she knows nothing about that. So initially she assumes that he's seeing another woman in prison, so she decides to investigate further, and once he leaves, she makes her way to check the check-in desk and makes up something about knowing the person Daniel was just visiting, and the guard believes it and sends her back, only for Jackie to find out that he was visiting his sister and not another woman, so she feels goofy about that. But this sparks some conflict because once she leaves, Daniel runs into her and she admits to following him around because she wasn't sure if he was seeing someone else. Daniel felt like he didn't need to bring this up because he likes to keep some things in his life private, but Jackie talks about being cheated on in the past. And you know, I can kind of see where Jackie's coming from, but I think you could have maybe used your resources to like Google this instead of following him first. Like if she knew he was going to a prison, I feel like she would have found out really quick that his sister was incarcerated without following him. But what annoys me is that instead of being the one to apologize, she calls him a liar for not telling her about this and drives off.
Jackass.
Like, Jackie, Jackie, come on. You were the one in the wrong here. Like, do I blame you? Like, no, I get it. Honestly, I get it. You have no time to waste. You have a lot to lose. You're trying to investigate this situation because you've been around the block. You've been around the block. You've been up and down the block, actually. This is the part of the movie where everything starts to kind of fall apart. During a press conference, Jackie is asked about the lawsuit and Daniel is speaking on behalf of the case. And remember, the entire accusation here is that Jackie was sleeping her way through this deal for the airline. And she goes on a tangent about how she'd never sleep with colleagues and specifically that she would never sleep with her lawyer.
And I would never sleep with my lawyer.
Are we stepping on the lawyer, Jackie? Things are weird right now. And that comment seemed to have slipped past everyone except Sydney, who knows something is going on. It seems pretty obvious now that they're banging. I don't know how they got past that comment. Jackie and Daniel decide to break things off for real because it's just not going to work out. You know, like Queen of the Bronx, Jackie is going to choose her career first every single time. That's just the kind of woman she is.
We're done.
Fast forward to post-Brexit relationship. Jackie is not very pleasant to be around. She is in distress, she's short-tempered, she's very insufferable, and she's leaving a lot of negative energy in the office. Sydney comes to confront Daniel about being in a relationship with her and then, I guess, not being in one anymore because she is noticing something is off with Jackie. Suddenly, out of nowhere, because this movie loves to like have very out-of-pocket moments, I guess, Sydney gives birth in Brexit's office. And Jackie walks in as this is happening. And I'm sorry to say, I cannot show the footage because a fake baby comes out of this woman's cha-cha. We see it. It's there. I was not prepared for it, but it happened very, very quickly. I feel like I should have gotten a warning, maybe. But through all the stress of childbirth, Sydney gets Jackie and Brexit to admit that they were banging. And also, I gotta say, this has to be a fake baby, right? It's just an enormous fake baby. I don't know if it's CG or if it's a puppet. It's not AI. I don't even think AI could create that. I think that's scary. It's just scary. The next day, Jackie gets asked to have dinner with the Falcon Airlines dude, you know, the one that's suing her. It turns out that he has some photos of her and Daniel at the DR because that weird staff member at the resort talking about orgies turned out to be a spy that he sent. And he wants to use these photos to get Jackie to step down as CEO or like blackmail her. Daniel finds out about the pictures and resigns to go work somewhere else, which I found to be ridiculous because this was an option the entire time. Like you could have easily found another company to sponsor your visa. And that's where the office relationship falls flat for me because he could have just worked somewhere else and continued pursuing a relationship with Jackie. He just started working there. So being that he found another job right away kind of defeats the whole purpose of him having a work visa to begin with in this story. Like, what's the whole point? But I digress. So she wishes him well. The vibes seem fine. And then he, out of nowhere, gives her a mouthful about Jackie always like listening to her dad for everything and that he doesn't really respect her. I don't know, just like it turns into an argument. She's taking her dad's side and then blaming him for leaving because she always knew that he would leave even though they broke up.
God, I knew you would leave.
Like, I don't really know what she expects him to do when they already broke up to protect both of their jobs. Again, I still think Daniel should have went to go work somewhere else if it was so easy for him. If he's so employable, oh my God. But anyways, Jackie decides that she's going to do what she thinks is best for the company and step down. When Sydney finds out about this, she immediately runs over to Brexit's office in New York to yell at him and demand that he do something about her resigning. Jackie and her dad also have an argument because Jackie realizes that the only reason the company is successful is because of her actions. And if it wasn't for her, the company would have failed. Like, even though Jackie's a Nepo baby, she's the only reason the company found funding and expanded into commercial, but her dad takes credit for all of her accomplishments. She holds another press conference to announce that she's stepping down, and Brexit not only quits his job on the spot, but he interrupts a press meeting to try and convince her not to step down. And she's like not listening to him. She's trying to like push him aside and like finish the press conference. And so he just decides to rip the Band-Aid off and tell the audience, and I guess America, because it's being broadcasted, that him and Jackie were fucking, which obviously makes the blackmailing photos useless now. There's really no reason for her to step down unless she's like forcibly removed from the board. And I don't know, this last part is just Daniel rationalizing him and Jackie breaking company policy and that everyone should just be cool with it. At one point, Jackie even referred to her company as a family, even though if anyone else broke this rule, they would be fired. It's kind of a chaotic series of events to watch unfold during a live press conference. We do not find out the results of the case. just so that they get to be together and that HR removed the office romance policy. And in the epilogue, it turns out that everyone in the office is banging everybody and has been this whole time. Again, no information about the case or the company. We just see a bunch of employees disclose all of this like very personal information to the HR guy, who also seems to be banging this dude. Again, I'm not sure why there's only one naked person, right? So the moral of the story is that if your CEO is banging one of her employees, you can go and bang any of your coworkers during office hours as long as at least one of you is wearing your clothes. Only one of you gets to have naked time. I didn't think this movie was all that bad. Like, it was certainly entertaining and something that you can throw on and giggle at. And I think a dumb rom-com is my favorite setting for Jennifer Lopez. Like, she's gorgeous, she's funny, this woman looks incredible. I don't care what any of y'all say. If there's anything about J.Lo, it's that her face card never declines. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.